Babe, coming to you from my kitchen. Today we have special guests, Tati and camera girl Jeannie. We are making a very special recipe today. We're making Kreplach. Yes, it is the dog's name, but only because it's so special. Kreplach are like Jewish wontons, and they're dumplings, and you can eat them in your soup before the high holidays, or even better, you boil them and then you fry them up in olive oil so they're crispy and delicious, and then they're a perfect side dish with a little applesauce. Yum, 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 yum. But this is our family recipe. My grandmother made it, Tati's mother, recipe, old. That's actually camera girl's handwriting. And our beloved cousin Sabra made it. And now I make it. Tati has already made the filling, which we will go over later, but it's essentially you make a pot roast and then you grind it up with some of the vegetables that you cooked it with. Super good. We'll discuss it later. First, we're going to start with the dough. Because we have 5 pounds of filling, we are going to make a double batch. So, here we go. Of course, we're going to do it in my mixer because I don't like to do it by hand. We're going to start with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. It's a little bit eyeballing measuring because we're not baking. We're going old school. And I'm assuming that the original was not measured at all. It was completely eyeballed because this is, how many was that? 3. 3, thank you. Because it's not an original recipe. It was probably a grandma's before a grandma's. The recipe has no salt, but you know I can't handle that. So we're going to put in a little pinchy pinch of salt. Give it a shake. And now we're going to add, for our 4 cups of flour, we're going to add 4 eggs. So if you're making a bigger batch, just remember, for every cup of flour, you need 1 egg. Those are going to go right in. 1, 2. I can't do the Sesame Street voices right, but my favorite dentist, Uncle Freddy, always counted our teeth in Sesame Street characters, and it was wonderful. 4. Okay. And then it's going to get 10 tablespoons, also known as 5 ounces, of hot water. Hot water makes the dough stronger. So we're going to start with that much. And then we'll see if we need a little bit more. This is going to go right in the mixer with my dough hook. And again, you can do this by hand. I don't like to. I've heard you could do it in your food processor, but I trust my KitchenAid best. So we're going to let that go until it becomes a dough ball. Until a ball is formed. Let's see how long that takes. This is on number 3, so fairly low, because we're mimicking how fast a bubby would move. Which, camera girl, right? Not so fast. I think we need to add a little bit more water, so we're just going to drizzle it down the side. See, it's starting to come together. A little bit shaggy right now. It'll get there. When I make my doughs, I always like to err on the side of too wet because I know I'm going to roll it out in some flour, so it's going to get absorbed. Okay. So that's pretty good. I think we're going to finish it up by hand. See how that ball is forming? That's exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to turn it off. We're going to move our eggs and our salt and the sacred recipe because we don't want it getting dirty. And that because we're done. We're going to just flour the counter lightly. I really should have taken it out. Dump it out onto the counter. There's a little bit shaggy parts, just stick them on there. It'll be okay. And we're just going to finish kneading this just slightly by hand, because we want to incorporate all the little bits. And if we need to, if we need to drizzle in a little bit more water to get these guys in, we will. But let me see if I can't just force it. No, I cannot. We don't want to force things anyway. That's not fun. So just a little bit of drizzle because we don't want to waste those little shaggy bits. We want them all part of the party. My favorite workout is actually kneading dough, but I clearly haven't done that in a while because I'm nice and round, like every good bubby should be. I practice for this roll, really. So now that's almost come together. Just a few more kneads. It's really pretty. Some people like to put a little oil in the dough. I don't think it actually needs it. Some people don't have egg in their dough, just the water. Our family recipe has the egg. It makes it nice and rich, which is what you want when you're having a holiday treat. It should be rich and bring you good luck. Okay, so that's our dough. It's gonna hang out here on the counter for about 20 minutes, and we'll be back. Hey, it's Emily Cutchins Adler, and I am back. Now we're gonna talk about our filling. As I said, Tati already made the filling. So what helpfully labeled Kreplach meat. So what is in the filling? This is chuck roast. We got a chuck roast, and basically you're making pot roast. So you put it in the pot with carrots, an onion, and a bay leaf, and some garlic, and some water. Wine? What else did you put in there?
A bottle of red wine.
Ooh, that's not in the recipe. Extra fancy. And then so you bring it up to a boil, drop it down to a simmer, and cook it for how long?
About 4 hours in the big Dutch oven and baked.
Till it's nice and tender. Then you let it cool in the cooking liquid. Very important stuff, so it stays nice and juicy. And then you grind it. You can use a hand grinder, like my grandma did. You can use a grinder attachment on your KitchenAid. You can use a stand-up grinder, which I use, or you can put it in your food processor. And then you can use it right away or put it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer until we're ready to go. The next thing that we need to discuss is rolling out the dough. Now, I know some people use their pasta maker to roll it out. I don't go that way. I like my French rolling pin because it's my favorite. I use it all the time. But if you are a beginner at rolling out dough, this kind of rolling pin is really nice. It's the same thickness all the way across, so it makes it nice and even. But also, you can set these handy little things to the thickness of the dough you want. So you would just unspin it, and then if you want it really thin, you put the yellow one on. If you want it thicker, you put the orange one on. I think there's an even thicker one. And that way, it can only roll as thin as the thingies get. Traditionally, the Kreplach are rolled out. They're cut into, the dough is cut into squares, and they're stuffed into make a triangle dumpling. Or you could use your biscuit cutter or a cookie cutter and make half moons. My Aunt Franny and Uncle Reno do the half moons, and then they seal it with a dumpling press, like a little pierogi maker, which makes it actually pretty fast and efficient. But I'm going old school. We're going to roll them out. We're going to cut them into squares, and then we're going to make triangles. So let's let the party start. I'm going to dust my Very Clean counter very lightly with some flour. And then I was prepared using just a little dough cutter, but it's full scraper. I'm going to cut half my dough. Now remember, I made a double batch. So we're just going to cut half that out. And squish it and roll it. This part's not that exciting. We'll probably film a little bit of the rolling and then stop because it's literally not that exciting. But you roll it out. I like the Kreplach dough fairly thin because remember it's a wrapper, so there's going to be 2 layers around the meat. And I want a lot of meat and not so much dough. If you go to like an old school Jewish deli, they have a lot of dough. And actually, the deli my parents go to every Sunday for the past 40 years or so. Their kreplach are almost like softballs. They're completely round, and it's a ball of meat, and then the wrappers around it. When I was a kid, those were my favorite because they would get them for us when we didn't feel good. We stayed home from school sick. But now I have grown up a little bit, and they're not my favorite anymore. But if you're thinking of the kreplach that you get at the deli, they're a little bit bigger than anyone's bubby would make. So see how it rolls out beautifully because we let it rest. If you don't let it rest, it's not gonna roll. And then they'll be tough and gross. So I'm not rolling into a circle because I'm actually gonna cut squares. So I want it to kind of be a square because that'll make more sense. I don't always make sense, but sometimes I do. I get a little bit thinner. So now you're asking, how do I seal my kreplach? Which I'm going to talk about while I'm rolling because you got to do something. If you were smart, you saved the cooking liquid that you cooked the filling in. So the broth basically that got made when you made your pot roast, you can save that and use it to seal the dough around each other, and then it's extra rich and delicious, yummy. If you didn't, which we did not, you can use water or you can use an egg wash, an egg mixed with water, which I think is what we're gonna do. So now we made our filling, see, nice and thin. I'm sorry, we rolled out our dough. We're gonna roll out the next one, and then we'll be back in a flash. Hey, Emily Cutchin's Ad-Lib, the buttery babe. Back to you with more kreplach. So I rolled out both pieces of dough because remember we made a double batch, and then we actually made another double batch that's resting because I think we have a little bit too much meat. You can choose how big you want your kreplach, if you want to put a little spoonful or a scoopful. Tati says he wants a scoopful, he wants them nice and meaty. So we decided that we were going to go old school with the triangles. So we're going to make, we're not going to measure, we're going to make guesstimates about 3 inches. Again, remember, guesstimate. Some of them might be misshapen, some of them might be a little smaller. You'll figure it all out. If there's some that are misshapen, you can keep the dough to the side and re-roll it later. Oh, we're totally gonna need that extra batch. So, you cut them all up. We've already made our egg wash. There's 1 egg mixed with some water. We beat it all up so that we're ready to go. We also have our baking trays because we aren't gonna cook these and eat them right now. Sorry, Ma, we're not having them for lunch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them on the cookie trays and pop them in the freezer, and then we're gonna cook them when they're frozen solid, like in about 2 hours. We'll pop them off and put them in. We'll pop them off and put them in Ziploc bags, or we don't actually put them in Ziploc bags. We put them in giant Rubbermaid containers like this, so that they get protected. We found when we put them in Ziploc bags, sometimes the corners break off, and then they're not as happy. So let me show you how we're gonna do it. We're gonna take 1 square, and we're gonna take a scoop of our delicious meat. Yum. And then we're gonna paint half like that. If this was more of a team activity, I'm talking to you, Tati, he would be painting and I would be scooping and folding. But see how nice and stretchy that dough is? It's from our eggs and our hot water. And now you want to make sure that it's nice and sealed, because if it's not sealed, they explode, and then it's sad. And then I like to give them just a little bit of squish so that there's more equal distribution of meat. Isn't that great? Now it's going to go on here, and then when the sheet pan's full, they'll go in the freezer. Let's see that one more time, shall we? Dough, which in theory would be a little neater, right? We can paint our edges before we put them on there. Scoop of meat. This is
So about a tablespoon. Maybe more. It's a scoop. It's my small cookie scoop, as we like to say. Fold over. Remember, this piece wasn't perfect because it was from the edge. That's okay, it'll still taste perfect, and that's the point. Now you want to make sure, nice and crimpy. And as I said, if you have one of those little, see how that opened up? No bueno. You got to make sure it stays closed. If you have one of those little dumpling presses, they sell them at the grocery store, they're plastic, you can cut these with your biscuit or cookie cutter and then seal them in there, and they come out with a pretty crimped edge. Not as pretty, but still very tasty. So I'm going to continue on. It looks like I'm going to have a long afternoon. It's Emily Cutchins Adler. Oh wait, almost forgot the important part. How to cook them. Bring a large pot of water to a boil, salt it heavily, should taste like the sea, and put in your kreplach. We tend to only put in about 30 at a time. We're a big family, we're big eaters. More than that, the temperature drops too low and they don't come back up. So,
Frozen.
big pot, put in 30 frozen kreplach, bring it back up to a boil, lower to a simmer. The original recipe says an hour. Do not listen to that. It takes about 20 minutes for them to cook through. You have to eat one to find out. Oh wow, so good. But about 20 minutes after the original boil. And give them a stir once in a while. And then eat them right away, or you can put them in an ice bath of cold ice water to shock them down, like if you're gonna serve them a little bit later at night, and then rewarm them briefly in the soup. If you want to make fried kreplach, the world's most perfect food, according to Jitty, our camera girl, you're gonna bring them to the boil from frozen, cook them for about 15 minutes, almost all the way through, but not quite. Then pat them dry, drain them, pat them dry, bring some oil up to heat, and pan fry them like pot sticker dumplings, but on both sides so they're crispy and delicious. Oh my god, you'll be such a happy camper. Again, I'm Emily Cutchins Adler, the Buttery Babe, coming to you from my kitchen, but with my grandma's recipes. Thanks to my special guests. Also, you can visit me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course my website, www.butterybabe.com.